So I'd like to keep this video short, but I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way. But in my opinion, being injured is not an excuse, and a lot of people will use it as an excuse to not train, to not follow their diet, to not stick to their normal regimen. And people will be like, "Well, I'm injured," and so they'll sit on the couch and they'll play video games and they'll eat junk food and just veg out. Here's my take on it, my personal opinion. Whenever you're injured, you should do as much as you possibly can without aggravating the injury. And so I'll give you a couple like quick little examples of what I mean by that. So, I injured my foot, so I'm gonna do pull-ups and push-ups and maybe work on my bench press, things like that. I injured my wrist, so I'm going to do a new squat program. Or because I'm afraid of injuring myself squatting, because you got to kind of hold the bar there. I don't know how bad your wrist is injured. Maybe I'll do leg presses. Um, Even if you have a back injury, which most people would sit there and say, well, back injury you can't do anything. You kind of can though, if you're smart about it, and of course you have to be very careful, with what your injury is. But this is where I normally am very anti-machine. This is where machines shine. So, okay, I have a back injury. Well, now you can do leg extensions. You could use the leg press machine. You could do, um, hamstring curls. You could do calf raises. You could use the machine to do, the flies. You can do the machine bench. You can use the machine press. You can do pull downs. You can do all kinds of other exercises that, they have that stupid thing with the cable that you can actually row to yourself where you sit in the chair. You can do all those different things. The catch is, okay, and I don't want people to screw this up and injure themselves. Don't come back to me. This isn't medical advice. This is just my opinion. This is what I do for myself. This is what a lot of my athletes will do because, they've been under my tutelage. Um, Work with very, very light weights. Okay, very light weights. For example, I was injured and I'm accustomed to lifting much heavier weights than probably I have anything posted on YouTube. If you guys go through my old videos and stuff like that, there might be a couple videos that get up there in weight, I think. Anyways, whenever I used to be at my peak, okay, I would be squatting 160 kilos. I'd be routinely putting 120 kilos overhead, stuff like that. Whenever I was injured, that weight went way down. I mean, the most you might see me move is 40 kilos, which is, it's a fraction of what I used to lift. If I'm normally putting 120 overhead and now suddenly I'm putting 40 overhead, and that's a max, you really have to keep that in perspective. It's nowhere near what I used to be capable of, or even like the squatting. If I normally squat 160 to 180, somewhere in there, and then suddenly I'm only squatting say 60 to 80 kilos. You've got to really take an objective look at that. I mean, that's less than half. So the point that I'm making to you though is it's about being conservative, right? You're not going to be injured and you're not going to come in and try to hit your all-time max. You're going to be conservative. You're going to allow yourself to, I don't want to say not work as hard, because you're definitely working as hard. You're just working differently. You're not, I have a perfect analogy. I had a coach, Rob Ord, who gave me a really good analogy about coming back from injuries. And he said to me, listen, he said, it's like crossing a frozen lake, okay? You start at the edge and you slowly work your way out. And you just kind of keep feeling your way out. You're a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further, until you make it across. And he said, it's not like you would just run out into the middle of the lake and hope that the ice will hold. You wouldn't just, let me just go as fast as I possibly can, right to the very center of the lake where the ice would be the thinnest, and hope that it's going to hold. You inch your way out. And that's great. That's a fantastic analogy, So my point is that just because you're injured, it's not an excuse not to train. Because you're injured, it's a reason for you to train smarter, more carefully, more deliberately, you know, put a different level of effort into your program, plan it differently, and try to work around things. You know, try to be smart about it, try to be conservative in your attempts, but at the same time work around it. So, you know, you hurt your left leg, work your right leg. Go use the leg extension machine. There's research showing that exercising your right leg while your left leg is injured actually causes your left leg to heal faster. You know, hey, I broke my arm. Okay, well, now take your other arm and do, you know, like single arm dumbbell bench presses or single arm presses and stuff like that. That should make this arm heal faster. And you know, I think it probably would heal better as well, because you've got that stimulus going on, and your body has this signal to make the muscles in this arm heal. Well, that signal is systemic, so it's going to your whole body. So I would imagine that that signaling is going to make it to this arm, since it's going to your whole body. As long as your arm is still part of your body, that signal's going there. So that is my point. And I hope that that makes sense to people. I hope that that's easy to understand, and that's why I encourage people to continue training even after you've been injured, but obviously nowhere near the level to where you normally would. You're going to train easy, you're going to train light, but the point is it's not an excuse to do nothing. Don't use it as an excuse to do nothing. Stick to your habit. If you always work out from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., continue working out from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Just be smart about it. Work around that injury. You know, that's even what I had a coach do with me. I had suffered a knee injury, and we just adjusted all the exercises. So I was doing them on my good leg, or I was doing them seated, or I was just something. I mean, I was on crutches, and we still managed to work out around it anyways. We just came up with different movements. So I hope that that is something that helps people, and I hope that this was easy to follow and people can actually take it and apply it. So